Hey guys, welcome back here to the Fishing Teacher, and really appreciate you guys swinging by the channel today. Guys, in the month of May, I think that flipping a tube is one of the most productive soft plastic lures that you can use. I'm going to talk a little bit why that is here in the video today. But I've got some modifications that I make with the tube, how to rig them, how to set them up to get you a lot more bites and hooks a lot more fish. So we're going to dig into that in the video today. I'm going to show you exactly how to make this modification and how to rig them up, how I like to set them up, and definitely think it's going to add up to some good fish for you guys today. Also guys, I'll put the tube links, I'll put some different tube links in my Tackle Warehouse link in the description of this video. If you haven't got any tubes and you'd like to order some, you can use that link of mine to get some, much appreciated there. And also guys, one of the things I do use on tubes a lot, you've heard me talking about this with other baits, is I do put scent on my tubes. And I use the bait pop scent here guys. It's got real fish in it, amino acids, it stays on the bait for a long time, has like a pasty feel to it with sparkles in it. It really helps you guys get more bites on any type of a soft plastic. So I'll put the bait pop link in the description of this video here too, if you guys would like to pick up a couple tubes there. Okay, let's get into how the modification of this tube here, and I'll show you how I do it. First of all, when you buy a tube out of the package, a lot of tubes are, they're not quite, you can catch fish on them, but guys, they're not really ready to fish out of the package because most of them are pretty stiff. It's the nature of the injection of a tube and the way that the tube has a lot of salt in it. Most tubes have a lot of salt. It makes the bait pretty stiff and hard. That makes it very difficult to get a hook through it. So before I show you guys how I rig it, I want to show you how I modify this tube, to make it a lot more palatable for the fish. Now, first of all, we talk about this all the time. Any other bait, guys, you got to rough this bait up. You got to bring that salt to the surface here. Now, by doing this, when you bring the salt to the surface, it's going to make this tube a lot more pliable and soft. So your hook penetration is going to be better. It's going to look more natural. Your hook's going to come through the bait a lot better. So just work it up a little bit here. And here's the difference. Here's the same tube side by side. Roughed up here, not roughed up. This is super hard, guys, really hard. And this is a lot more pliable. So that's what you want to do right off the bat with it. The next thing that you want to do with the tube, this is pretty common with most tubes, is a lot of the tubes have the tentacles are stuck together at the bottom. See how these tentacles right here? Let me get you one that's stuck here. There's one right there. They tend to get stuck like that together. So make sure that you come through and you pull these tentacles apart. See that right there? There's the mold right there. You can see it makes them stick together like that. So break them apart, and you may have to do this to 2 or 3 of them. It just depends on the tube. All of them are different, but you want to make sure that, see how that's stuck together there? Just break them apart and get each one of those tentacles independent of each other. This is super critical, guys, as far as making the tube look really, really good. You definitely have to do this. Doesn't take that long. I mean, like I said, some of them are different than others, but you want to get them by breaking those tubes up there. It gives that tube a lot better action. Okay, the next thing you want to do is you want to take 2 or 3 of the tentacles of the tube and you want to pinch them in half. Just go through, and I usually do like 3 or 4 of them and just pinch them in half like that. And this gives it sort of an irregular look. You got 2 or 3 short tube areas and the longer ones, and it just looks a little bit more natural in my opinion. So that's definitely a modification I make. Next thing you want to do is get you a pair of scissors, and you want to cut up about halfway up into the tube like this. You want to open it up just like that, and this is going to make for easier hook penetration. So let me show you here. I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. Now, if there's one modification you really have to make, it's cutting that tube up to halfway mark, because it's definitely going to help you land a lot more fish. If you don't do that, when you rig a tube, you got to penetrate both sides of the tube. But if you cut the tube, you just got to penetrate one side, so your hookups will go way up. Next thing you want to do is you want to get you a good, offset hook. I usually use a 3/0. This is a Gamakatsu G Finesse. I'll put this hook in my Tackle Warehouse link in the description too. It's my favorite tube hook. And then you want to come through on the side that opening is. So in other words, put the opening the same way that you're putting the hook in there. come through about a half of an inch. You want to come through a little bit further. I like a half of an inch because that way the entire EWG is buried into the tube and also the knot is hidden. If you don't come through a half inch, your knot's going to be sticking out of the tube. So this way it's nice and clean. And the reason you don't want that knot sticking out of the tube is your slip sinker will not set straight if it is. But see, your slip sinker is going to sit nice and straight like that. And then you're going to come through with your hook in the part that you cut there, and you're going to have it rigged just like this. That's the tube setup like that. And also on a tube, guys, I like to keep my hook laying. See, I got my hook point laying flat on there. I don't really like to put it back into the tube. It makes it a little bit too weedless. But that's my tube setup right there. And you'll have to, tweak it a little bit to get it straight. I mean, I really am sort of a stickler for that. That is the setup right there. Guys, a tube is freaking deadly in the month of May, and most of the time I'm flipping it on 20-pound test Seaguar and VizX fluorocarbon line. Got my Megabass Alkalies flipping stick, and I like to use a fairly light sinker on a tube. It's like there's basically two different sizes of sinkers I use. I'll use an 1/8 ounce and a 3/16. The lighter fall on a tube is going to be really critical as far as getting more bites. And a lot of times I use that Core Tackle Ozark rig. If I'm flipping and pitching that tube around some sparser cover, that Ozark rig will make it glide a little bit. I'll put that link in the description of the video too. But if I'm flipping and pitching that tube like into flooded bushes or really gnarly thick grass or something, I'll use the Texas rig to get it to go straight down in there. But I do want a little bit lighter sinker, 1/8 ounce, 3/16. But the thing about it is, like, after those fish spawn, they get a little bit finicky. And one of the things that you're going to notice when you're pitching and flipping, like in the month of May, the bass prefer a downsized lure. They don't want like a big full-size jig quite so much unless you have flooded cover, or the big 8-inch lizards or big brush hogs or something like that. They want to have a little bit smaller bait, in my opinion. Now, not all the time. I mean, there are some situations a bigger bait works, but for some reason, a tube, guys, just the fact that it's a simple bait, it doesn't displace a lot of water, very natural in the water, it just gets a lot of bites in the month of May. And it's also really good on a jig head too. If you're fishing for, out off the bank, like on points or something, you can catch a lot of fish in May on a jig head tube as well. So anyway, hope that helps you guys. I'll link all those components and everything in my Tackle Warehouse link in this video description if you'd like to get them there. And really appreciate you tuning in. See you.